All right, guys. Good evening. It's Futures Brizio here. It's about 8 p.m. on Monday, March 24th. Hope everybody had a great weekend and a good start to your week. Um, I'm not doing this live. I'm just going to record and post this one on the channel because I'm traveling. So I don't have my multiple monitor set up, so I really can't look at my other monitor for the chat on the live stream. So I'm just going to do this as a straight up recorded video, just do a quick market wrap for today. Um, and as you can see, I got my camera on, guys, which is different from me. I don't usually do that, but I figured I'd put it on for this video. I'm going to try to start doing that a little bit more. Maybe dress up the thumbnails on my video post just to try to get some more traffic to the channel. Although again, that's not why I do these videos for YouTube traffic, clearly. But I want to maybe start doing that. So I'm just recording this off my laptop, so not the best quality recording tonight because I'm not using my setup at home. But like I said, just make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and any questions or comments, leave them down below. So overall, today was a good day for the U.S. dollar. We saw a lot of strength come into the market on the dollar. Whether that can be sustained after a lot of dollar weakness, I guess we're going to see as the week goes on. But today was definitely a good day for the dollar, and the market, the stock market indices were up today, and so like I said, whether that's going to be sustained because we've seen a lot of weakness in the indices and then the dollar. So whether we sustain that or not long term, we're going to have to wait and see. But at least for today, we did see quite a bit of money flow back into the market today and into the U.S. dollar. So we'll just jump right in. So we'll look at the euro. We're just going to look at the three Forex pairs first, and then we'll jump over to futures and we'll wrap it up. So first of all, in terms of, I have to keep these in so I can monitor. So first of all, with the euro, this is the daily chart, and I mean clearly we've been in a substantial uptrend here, really since the beginning of the year. The euro has been trending up. We did have this pullback here today, and price is now underneath the 10 period SMA. I have this line drawn right here, which this could be um, a um, a pullback area here that led to this high. So the question is this a break of structure with this price action from the last couple of sessions underneath these lows, or are we going to get eventually another push back higher here? So what I would really like to see at this point, whether it be on the daily or the 4-hour chart, is a push back up, get back above this 10 period moving average that's sloping down, and then see the bounce fail and price to continue to move lower. So to put in basically a lower high after this little move down, however long this goes, to see a lower high put in back above the moving average again, whether it be on the daily or the 4-hour chart, and then see the lower have the price put in a lower high and then proceed to go down, obviously make a new low. That certainly would signal a turn back to the downside on the euro. But in the meantime, even with all of this we've seen here the last couple of days, I don't know if that's enough to negate this uptrend or not, because it's been very strong. And you know technically we did see that happen down here. If you look way back to this last giant move up, we had price break the daily chart down here. Two candles closed below this little structure area that led to these highs, pulled way back. We were sold down for 3 days, and then we had this massive move up. And so, is that what we're seeing now? I guess we'll have to wait and see. So, I don't think you can negate this uptrend yet. It would take, like I said, a failed push higher and a lower high to be put in, and then bearish price action back down. But if we start heading back up again, start making higher highs and higher lows on a shorter time frame, that would be suggestive of this uptrend continuing. And obviously, if we go up and take out these highs up here, then certainly we're still in an uptrend. Um, so that's where it's at. But at least for the last couple of sessions, we have seen some weakness definitely come into the euro or strengthen the dollar more likely. So if we look at the dollar yen and look at the daily chart here, we've got this swing high that led to this low down here. Again, this is the daily chart. You can see the break above the 10 period moving average, and then this candle right here on the daily chart kind of ended this uptrend, went down, put in a new low, and now we've traded all the way back up to this zone. So this is kind of the zone to look at if we close, and you can use this in conjunction with what you see on the euro and the dollar Swiss. If we get price to come up and take out this level right here, then we're probably going to turn and start going higher. But at the moment, while this is a very, very strong pullback right here, until it takes out the liquidity that's sitting up here in this swing high right here at the top end of this box, then we are technically still in a downtrend. But we would need to see price action that would, cause this to start reversing lower and start heading lower. And, we don't have that right now. If we go to a shorter time frame, the hourly time frame, you can see, price is starting to slow down as it approaches this is the box I drew on the daily. You can see the candles are getting smaller. Of course, the last three candles, 3 or 4 candles, you can't really count because we're in the Asian session now. So the volumes and the volatility is going to be quite low. So we'll have to see, what happens here. If we can come down and, I would say the last real big major swing point is probably sitting right here on the hourly chart. If we can come down and take this area out, then certainly that would probably confirm that the downtrend is going to continue. But that's way down here. You can see on the daily chart, here's that line I just drew on the hourly. And we'll have to see what happens. But again, if we break through here, then I would think, that's going to be a turn and a change in direction back to the upside. And we have been putting in higher highs and higher lows on this retracement. That's to be expected on a pullback. It's just a matter of how much it follows through. Obviously, you could have traded this up with this area up here being a target for an up move on a shorter time frame. But if you're waiting now just to kind of see what's going on, I don't think I would trade this long anymore until it breaks out of this zone because we're probably one session away from this, hitting this peak. And so to me, I'd probably just wait now. If we get like a solid close on like an hourly or 4 hour chart above this zone, then that would probably turn it more bullish. Okay. And then looking at the dollar versus the Swiss. This one's not as clean because here's the daily again. We did put in this swing high, came down here. We failed to put in a new low, which is why I said it's not so clean because we did not put in a new low right here. So that would potentially suggest some strengthening to the U.S. dollar, and so we are coming back up. But you can see, at least on this daily chart, as we've come up back towards this zone, look at the candles. They're getting very small volume, lot larger wicks as price is entering back to this area. So, and you can see here on the 4 hour, we're kind of like chopping around. I do expect this probably will pop back up again at some point. But again, it would probably take a close, above, above this high right in here to get a nice solid close here to maybe turn and get this thing going higher again. We do have another area right here that hasn't been kind of revisited. So the question is, do you consider this the swing high or is it this one here that led to this low? Because this did not make a new low. So I'm not sure how valid this area is, but we'll see. So that's why I say the dollar Swiss to me is not as clear, at least in terms of the trend as the U.S. Yen and the euro dollar. So, but I'll be monitoring these three just to kind of see if there's follow through on these moves that are in place, downtrend on the euro and the uptrend on the dollar yen and potential dollar Swiss, or if these are just going to be pullbacks and we're eventually going to turn and resume the larger trends that are technically still in place and valid. Okay, so that's the Forex market. That's the only three pairs that I'm covering now. So if we jump on over to futures, so here's the DAX. I did take a long on the DAX here, which is not doing anything because I just it looked to me like we had put in a low here on the 4-hour chart and start and move higher. I jumped in when price came back above this 10 period SMA, but not really doing anything. If we come down here and we take out this zone right here I have drawn on the 4-hour chart, this little zone right in here, and we, definitively break through here, then, that to me would say that the uptrend is kind of confirmed, that we've put in a lower high. I mean, excuse me, the downtrend's confirmed. And, we've put in this lower high right here, and that we're potentially going to turn and start going lower. So that's why I have a pretty tight stop, because if it does come down here and breaks through these lows, then that probably means that it's going to turn down anyways, and so I don't want to be in it anymore. So, but I am holding these positions for now. If I get taken out of this, it probably will be during the London session when the market reopens overnight, but I am going to hold them. I'm not going to move my stop. If I get taken out, I get taken out. That's okay. It's a pretty small loss, and I'll just go with that. And then, if that's the case, then I might, turn more bearish and start looking for potential moves to the downside. On copper, copper did go up again. It held this zone perfectly, went up, made a new high. It's pulling back now. So there's nothing to do with this right now. But again, this is the key area to watch. This is the 4-hour, which in futures is kind of my higher time frame preference. And so as long as this area holds, then I continue to maintain a bullish posture in copper. This is a really big pullback, but again, it's the uptrend is still valid as long as this zone in here holds and we don't break these lows. Then you know the uptrend's still intact. So if price comes down here into this zone, assuming it doesn't break it, then I'll be looking for to see what happens. Do we get really strong bullish momentum, start pushing this thing higher again, or are we going to again come up, put in a lower high, and then break back down? This area right here, if you look at this arrow I was just talking about, when price starts to move higher, there is going to be a reaction off this zone. Price will bounce from here. The question is it just like a dead cat bounce and eventually it will put in that lower high and move down, or is this going to be a continuation of the uptrend? There's always a little uncertainty. If you trade this to the upside, you trade this move, which when it gets this reaction out of the zone, which I almost guarantee it will have, the question is, how long do you hold it? Because if it's going to be a new uptrend, then it's going to go up and break these highs and just the uptrend continues. If it's going to be just a bounce and before it turns lower again, you got to be careful if you're going to trade this to the upside, that you monitoring and cut the trade once you see kind of bearish price action start to work back in, if that's what's going to happen. So I'm not saying don't trade this long out of this area. Just be cautious, because immediately speaking, it probably will start putting in higher highs, higher lows in this zone before it potentially turns lower. But what you want to look for is, do the waves overlap? When it starts going up again, is it choppy price action where the up and down parts of that are overlapping, as opposed to this nice, very smooth trend where the waves are not overlapping? Or do you get kind of like choppy price action where it's, yes, it's going up, but they're big, long waves and one overlaps the other one almost completely? That's more suggestive, and especially if there's a lot of wicks, that's more suggestive of a corrective price move, and so you have to just kind of eyeball it. So we'll see what happens, but again, I do expect that we'll see a reaction out of this zone. It's just a matter of whether, like I said, it's just a bounce and we're going to eventually turn back lower and come through this zone, or whether it's a continuation of the uptrend. But as of the recording of this video, we are still in an uptrend. Okay, on to natural gas. So nothing to do with this one right now, in my opinion. We are trending down. This is the 4-hour chart. I do have this trend line sitting here, which you can take off if you want. Clearly, we have this zone right here. This did put in a new low. So to me, this is definitely in a downtrend. And so, I if this move ends up, if this little consolidation area holds and we start moving down again, then this would basically become our new swing zone up here. If this now starts moving down and creates some new lows, then this would become our swing point. Um, it hasn't really done that yet because it hasn't broken these lows, so I'm not sure whether we can negate this area up here yet. But that's kind of what I'm watching. But there's really not much to do with natural gas at the moment. It's been really consolidating for the last couple of days at these levels. So um, since this swing high was put in. But to me, it does look more bearish at this point. So we'll see what happens. And then lastly, on crude, you can see I'm holding a long position with a take profit sitting up here on the 4-hour chart at this swing high way back here. We have been putting in a series of higher highs and higher lows, not particularly impulsive looking. When I was talking about with copper about seeing overlapping waves, to me this is pretty choppy price action where you've got, it is going up, but it's not making a heck of a lot of progress. It is trending up. We're putting in higher highs, higher lows, but it's not particularly making a ton of progress. And the waves are kind of overlapping quite a bit. And it's going up, but it's not like straight up, super impulsive trending. So, which is part of the reason why I have a pretty, you know, conservative profit target sitting up here because I think at some point if this all is all corrective, at some point we will turn and start going back down again. And so this would be a good area. This is kind of a higher time zone. If I go up to the 12-hour chart, we can see this area up here was kind of the pullback that led to this low, which again is why I've targeted this area as my take profit, because again, this move up looks a little choppy to me, looks more corrective than impulsive. And if it is, this would be a good area for price to turn from again, which again is why I put my TP at this level. Now, if it is an uptrend and it's just not a very pretty looking one, and it blows through here, then so be it. Then my, obviously my um, bias will change more bullish. But at the moment, at least off this 12-hour chart, even though price has been going up since, well, basically since about the beginning of March, we started trending up here. This is a higher time frame, and I don't think you can find a really clear management level on the 4-hour time frame, which is why I've gone up to this 12-hour, and I see this area where I've drawn that red arrow as kind of being the management point, the swing point. So again, I'm targeting this area. We'll see what happens when it gets up here. It's just been kind of grinding its way higher since I got in. And like I said, I'm just going to hold it and hopefully it hits my take profit level, which is pretty conservative. It's not too far away from where it is now. I mean, one more impulsive move up, it'll tag that, and then we'll see what happens. But again, overall, this still does look pretty bearish to me, unless and until it takes out this higher time frame area up here. If it does, like I said, blast through there and get over these highs, right here, then that might change my bias a little bit more to the long side. But for now, I'm basically taking a counter trend trade and just putting a conservative profit target on it, which is what I was talking about here with copper. If that happens with copper and it starts just grinding higher, you know, um, have a place to manage that trade higher in case that this does eventually turn and start going back down again. Okay. And if it doesn't and just keeps putting in new highs and you're in a long here, then you can hold it, right? And just hold it until the structure changes. But be prepared in case it does roll over and start going lower, which is what I'm doing here with crude oil, thinking that, you know, being conservative on the take profit level up at this 12-hour zone in here, um, you know, uh, viewing it on the 4-hour chart as this price action from, from this point, basically this whole thing in here, being, pretty choppy. So that's what I'm doing with crude oil. I'm going to hold this long. If this is going to get hit take profit, it probably will do so again during the London session, much like if I get taken out of this DAX trade, this will happen, during London, probably right at the open, which I'll be asleep for that. So when I wake up tomorrow morning, I'll take a look and see what's happened. So, all right. So yeah, that's about it, guys. That's kind of the market wrap, how I see things going into tomorrow. I am heading back home tomorrow afternoon, so I'll be checking stuff out in the morning, but I probably won't be very active in the markets in terms of doing anything unless I see something really nice set up until at least midweek when I get back home. I don't know if there'll really be anything for me to do in the interim, but especially in futures, I might be watching those forex pairs a little bit to see what happens with the dollar. But in terms of forex, I mean, in terms of futures, besides what I have open at the moment, is probably going to be a little bit of watching and waiting to see if these trends can continue or whether we're going to get some of these to start rolling over and going back the other way. So, all right. So I hope that was helpful, guys. Again, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Questions or comments, leave them down below. And, I hope you have a great night. And I will talk to everybody probably not tomorrow, but probably hopefully be back with another video on Wednesday. All right, take care, guys. Talk soon.